Alright, so last video of this project, we got the engine running and working, but then I messed with the wiring harness, and then all of a sudden, it would not run again, and I tried everything I could think of to try and get it running, and nothing worked. Now, I really think it's a CDI because I read a forum, apparently a bunch of other people have problems with these CDIs just going out, going bad, and I know that I spilled a bunch of gas on it, and it's cracked really bad where the wires go into it, so maybe just a bunch of gas got in it and burned it out or something, I'm not really sure. But I went on eBay and bought another one of these things, and this is actually the only other CDI that I could find on eBay. I could not find a second one of these for the newer engine. I did find a bunch of them for the older engines, but this engine is a 1999 to 2000 something. And the difference is on the CDI, for the newer engines, this plug is a 3-prong plug. On the older engines, it's a 2-prong plug. Not really sure what that extra wire is, but it's apparently important, so I don't want to mess with it. So I'm hopefully this will work. Hopefully we can plug this thing in, get this engine running again. But if it doesn't, I do have a plan B, but I'm not 100% sure if plan B will work, so hopefully this works. Now, I don't think I showed this in the last video, but look at how cracked where the wires go into the CDI. Whatever this material is, I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but yeah, it's cracked really bad around where the wires go in. So, yeah, look at that. That's pretty bad. Now, I will admit, the new one that I bought is slightly worse. Look at that. That is not great. So if this new CDI does work, I may want to pour epoxy on this just to help seal it off better. And I probably need to mount this in the frame somewhere where it's not going to get wet. Moment of truth. Let's hope this works. I'm tired of this issue. Why won't this run? It is on, right? It is a spark. It's not a very strong spark, but it is getting a spark. So maybe it's not, maybe it wasn't the CDI. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. Is there points on this engine? So just a little bit of starting fluid on this thing. Well, we know this one runs, even though it's been sitting undisturbed for probably over a year. It just needed a little bit of starting fluid, and it fired right up. So there is this guy on Instagram who I've been contacting and asking him questions. He knows way more about these engines than I do. He works on them. He actually drag races with these engines. So maybe I'll give him a call and see if I can talk to him, and hopefully he can help me with this stuff, because clearly I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, so I just got off the phone with Caleb on Instagram. He knows way more about these engines than I do. He actually drag races these snowmobiles. So the first thing he said was take the drain ports out of the bottom of this engine and see if anything comes out. And sure enough, a quarter gallon of gas drained from the bottom of this engine. And he said if the bottom end is flooded, it will not run no matter what I do to this thing. I honestly thought it was electrical. I really thought it was electrical, but it turns out the engine just completely flooded itself. And that actually makes sense now that I think about it, because the day that I had this thing running, I can't remember how much gas I had in the gas tank, but then the next day when I came out, it wouldn't run. I checked the gas tank and it was completely empty, and I was like, oh, I guess I used that much gas, or I didn't put enough in there, so I put more gas in it. Yeah, it turns out it was just completely draining into the engine, and so I think that maybe one of the float bowls got stuck open and just drained a bunch of gas in the engine. So I pulled all the drain ports out of the bottom of this engine, let all the gas drain out, took the spark plugs out, let it all air out while I was taking the carburetors off, taking the float bowls off, cleaning those, replacing all the needles, replacing all the O-rings on this thing, and I hope that will solve this issue. Because actually my plan B, and that's why I pulled out the 2-stroke triple yard kart, because I wanted to see if I can get that thing running and compare the spark. That thing actually has a weaker spark than this, and that's like, that does not make sense, and that thing runs. So my plan B was to take all the wiring off of that, including everything behind the flywheel, put it on this, and see if that will run. But apparently it's not electrical. Apparently the engine just completely flooded itself. So let's put the airbox back on, let's put the muffler back on, spark plugs back on, and see if we can finally get this engine to fire up. If this doesn't work, I need to take a break from this project. Otherwise, I'm going to light it on fire. Come on! I'm getting a workout from this. Come on! You know you want to do it. You know you want to stop. Come on! Finally! I figured it out. I didn't figure it out, but I had help figuring it out. Man, that feels good to finally have this thing running. Holy crap. Y'all have no idea the amount of hours I have put into this thing trying to get it running again, and it all was the bottom of this engine was flooded. Who knew? Definitely not me. Alright, so now I want to see, will it run with the airbox on and with these on? Yeah, this is why it pays off to call a professional. That could have saved me days of troubleshooting on this thing if I just called him sooner. to finally have this thing running. Yeah, I spent 3 days working on this thing trying to fix what I thought was an electrical problem, but turns out it was a fuel problem. The bottom end was completely flooded, and that's why it was puzzling me so much. It's like, it's getting a spark, it's a strong spark, it's getting fuel, why won't it run? But turns out it was just completely flooded. But at least we solved it, at least we were able to figure it out. Now we can start working on finalizing all this wiring. Now that I know it's not a wiring issue, I can cut most of this stuff off this thing. All I need is power going to the temperature sensor. We need headlights, as well as key switch and kill switch. That's all we really need. Most of this stuff can be cut off. Now, in case you guys are wondering, in case you guys have commented in the last video of this project of, hey, try this, try that, or some of you guys maybe even commented like, hey, it could be that your engine is flooded, check that. Make sure it's not flooded, and you guys are wondering why I haven't read those comments, is I actually haven't uploaded that video yet. I actually upload that in about 5 days, so it's kind of a huge, time difference between by the time I film a video and by the time I upload it. So that's why I haven't read those comments yet, because I actually haven't uploaded that video yet. But anyway, let's start working on finalizing the wiring on this thing yet again. Alright, so there's 2 wires for the headlight. I just need to figure out which one it is. So, and hopefully the off switch works. We'll find out. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just connecting wires together and hoping something's gonna happen. Nice! I finally got the headlights to work. Why'd they turn off? Did I just break them? Did I burn them out? There's a regulator on here. I may have just burned out these lights. So these are LED, and the original lights are, I think they're incandescent. Well, that lasted for all of 4 seconds. It looks like the lights aren't working anymore on this thing. Well, it looked cool while it worked. So, aside from I just burned out the headlights because I revved the engine, I need to figure out why it did that. Either the regulator's not hooked up properly or it's not working, or maybe the LEDs aren't designed to run at whatever voltage this engine produces. But aside from that, the wiring is now done on this thing. Now, I'm really curious, because this thing has an open differential, will it do a proper burnout, or will it just do a one-wheel peel? So let's fire this thing up and find out. And I'm probably going to let it warm up a bit, so I'm not going to immediately. Also, this is the first time this thing has actually tried to move under its own power, so it may not work properly because the CVT may be stuck or sticky or whatever, so let's hope it works. Yep, it'll do it. Oh, my eyes are on fire. Wow. Oh, wow. Well, it can do it. It'll do a proper burnout. Yeah, it started getting really smoky in there, so it's like, yeah, I know the camera can't see what I'm doing, so it's like, doesn't really make sense to keep going. Plus, I can't see or breathe. So, but it'll do it. It'll do a proper burnout. Nice. Well, it worked. Yeah, these tires are really sticky now. Yeah, I don't really want to keep going. I don't want to destroy these tires, but ow, that's hot. Don't touch the muffler. I wanted to see if it will do a proper burnout, and it will. So, that's awesome. Yep, making more marks on the floor. Oh well. Yeah, I just want to quickly verify that the CVT is working properly because I was watching the video and it's like the tires weren't actually spinning that fast. And they didn't seem like they were spinning faster when the engine was revving more. So I want to make sure that this is expanding how it should, this is contracting how it should. I just want to make sure the CVT is working properly. Tires are off the ground. Yep, looks like it's working. You can see, however, that the primary kind of slams closed. It's not a smooth action, so I'm wondering if this is... I wonder if this is a little stuck. Alright, now before we add the fiberglass on this thing, I need to add this stuff. I bought about 30 feet of this. This is pipe insulation that I cut down the center. Basically, I want to add this to the frame Just like that, all around the top right here and down the sides. This is hopefully going to make it to where the fiberglass is resting on this and not the hard frame, because we are going to be taking this thing off-roading. There's a lot of jolting and jostling, and I don't want the fiberglass bashing up against the metal frame and disintegrating, wearing out, so hopefully this will make it to where it'll cushion the impact and just make it to where the fiberglass is sitting on this cushiony material instead of the metal frame. That's why I left a gap all around here and around here between the metal frame and the fiberglass, and it's actually perfect thickness for this stuff. So all we need to do is just add this around here, and around here, and hopefully the fiberglass will sit on this and not be sitting on the frame. So this is before. Notice how there's a gap between everything. Hopefully this thing still fits after all that. Nice. Well, that was disappointing. Let's try that again. Yeah, so it's definitely bogging. So let me try without the air box and just air filters on this thing. See what that does. I know you guys are going to say, like, oh, you keep throwing dirt in your shed. And it's like, well, it's the only cool thing I can do around here. So, you know, I don't mind sweeping it out. Oh, what the heck? Really? Alright, so it's definitely bogging with the air filter, the air box that I made. So we'll try this. If it runs better with this, then obviously the air box that I made is too restrictive. It's at least a little better. Well, it was a little better. It's starting to run better every time I do that, so maybe it is. Maybe the airbox that I built is too small for this thing. I really need to. I need to drive this thing. I need to take it somewhere to really see what this thing can do. Yeah, this thing is nuts. Holy crap, this thing is nuts. So I want to see if I can get this thing to do a wheelie. So I'm going to start in the shed and then drive it out. So, see how that works. I wish this thing had reverse. So it didn't do a wheelie, but it still looked cool, I think. I mean, it throws just a ton of dirt. Man, look at that. So the more I'm running this thing, it seems like the better it's running. And yeah, as soon as I took that airbox off, it's been running a lot better, which is kind of weird because yesterday, when I did the burnout and was running the thing yesterday, it was running fine, but then today, it was, with the airbox on, it was bogging down as soon as I hit the throttle, but then without the airbox, it's running fine, so I don't know. Yeah, the engine's running better and better the more I'm driving this thing, and trust me, I'd love to drive this thing more, and I actually was thinking a bit about taking this thing up the street, but ever since that issue with the neighbor, I'm really selective with which vehicles I bring up the street, so I don't want to risk it, and kind of in a really quiet neighborhood, so I have to kind of keep it easy with making a bunch of noise like that. But at least we got to kind of see this thing doing a donut, not a donut, but at least a burnout. I was kind of wanting to do a donut in front of the shed, but I don't think the area is big enough. I feel like I'm just gonna, if I tried to do it, I would just crash this thing, so maybe not do that. So now, we do have to address the gas tank issue because I think 2.5 gallons is not enough for this vehicle, and I've been saying I have these 2 1-gallon roto packs that I want to add to the side of this vehicle. I just need to figure out how to do that. Obviously, the easiest way to do that would be to just take the plates, take the mounting plate, put it up against fiberglass, drill some holes, put a plate on the back of the fiberglass, weld that to the frame. But if I did that, we would have to remove all this stuff to remove the fiberglass, which I kind of don't really want to do. I thought about what if I just mounted these to the fiberglass, but I don't think the fiberglass is strong enough. And I don't want these rattling off and falling off on the trail. So I think the easiest way to do this, and the best way, not really the easiest, but the best way to do it, would be to make another frame that goes behind, underneath the fiberglass, and then goes up on each side, and then we'll attach the plates to that. That way we don't have to remove these to remove the fiberglass. Alright, now we just need to figure out where exactly we are mounting. We're obviously mounting this onto here, but I need to figure out how close can I get it to the fiberglass, what angle, and everything, and also make sure that I can still pull this off and it's not going to be hitting this. So these that I added, they're kind of multi-purpose. Not only are they tree kickers, but honestly I don't really see us using these much as tree kickers. It's mainly just for protection for the Rotopacks. It's also a spot to mount the Rotopacks, but mainly it is a step to help me get in and out of this thing. So now it's a whole lot easier to be able to step in and out of this thing. So the Rotopacks are installed on this thing. Now I will be honest, I kind of don't like the look of this thing now that I added the, I mean for me the look of something is kind of really important, as well as obviously the performance and how well it works, but because I'm trying to make this thing look like a really cool Mini Baja Bug, now that I add these, it looks fat, it looks busy, and it looked cleaner and better before I added these, but I needed to add these. There's no way I can, there's no way I can take this thing to Durham Town or Windrock with only a 2.5 gallon gas tank. I don't want to get halfway down a trail and then realize I'm almost out of gas and I either have to turn around or ask somebody to go back and get a gas can for me. And I'm even wondering, is 4.5 gallons enough? Because I mean, I know I keep saying this, the original snowmobile had a 10.5 gallon gas tank, so is 4.5 gallons enough? I sure hope so, but I guess we'll soon find out. Now, trust me, I would absolutely love to drive this thing more, to really see what this thing can do in this video, but unfortunately we're going to have to wait for being able to take this thing to an actual off-roading park, for me to be able to see what this thing can do. I mean, I kind of drove it a little bit. I mean, can you call a couple burnouts driving it? But I guess, I don't know, but from the little I drove this thing, I can tell, holy crap, is this thing going to be fast, and I think it's going to be insanely fun to drive this thing. So anyway, hopefully soon I can take this thing to either Windrock or Durham Town to really see what this thing can do, but for now, I gotta end this video here. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see ya in the next video.